Yo, man, I already got somebody waiting in here. That's what's up. I appreciate you guys. Blessings to everybody. I know this will be watched later, so even though there's nobody in here except for the one homie right now, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's tuning in to watch this, even if it's not live. I'm actually chilling right now, Costco parking lot, and I'm rolling one up real quick so I can sesh. The wife and the homegirl and the kids are all in the store shopping, and I figure, you know what, I might as well just roll up a blunt and take a moment and just talk a little story with the people, man. I appreciate you guys. That last video I put up, you guys gave me a lot of love, a lot of feedback, and it was a little bit better received than I had expected. So thank you. I appreciate that. I'm gonna roll this little wood. Not too crazy. Some island weed. The homie grew it down south. Much appreciated. Threw me a little something. Just got back from the beach, swimming with the fam, and the sun's about to set behind me. I don't think you guys can see that very well, but the sunset is beautiful here, so you might catch a glimpse of it behind me. It's gonna go down in the next 10-15 minutes. Anyways, let me finish rolling this up and we'll get started. We're gonna talk a little bit about the lost history of psychedelics. We're only gonna go into it a little bit today because I only have a little bit of time. They can walk out anytime, and I'll probably have to shut this thing down. So we're gonna talk a little bit about it. And yes, I'm sitting in the farm truck with no shirt on. I'll put a shirt on in just a second. I didn't even think about that before I started this. I'm sorry. Y'all probably don't want to see my fat, hairy self, but I live in Hawaii, and we don't wear shirts very often out here. So my bad. Let me finish this real quick. I'll throw a little something on. I don't want to be disrespectful to nobody. Hopefully you guys are all having a good day. You already know the routine, man. Let me know what you're smoking on in the comments. If you guys are sessioning with me, you know I like to smoke blunts while I tell stories, so that's what we're gonna do. And I'm still not sure. I was kind of thinking about what I said on the last video about my other channel, and I didn't really link you guys to that. I don't think. I'm not sure if I followed through with that or not, but I got to thinking about it, you know, and the whole making money thing off of giving information like this, and I'm okay, I guess, with making money off of it, but I don't want to like make that the focus, I guess. So I'm tempted to just leave it on this channel and keep uploading here on this channel. I'm dropping weed all over me. And maybe offer like a Patreon down the road or something if people feel like really throwing some love. But it's not really about making money to me. It's just about getting the information out there and creating conversation between people, you know? All right. Oh, blunts rolled. I know some of y'all be watching me on Instagram. You know what? In fact, I should have posted that I was going live on Instagram. I forgot to. That was stupid. Boom. That's where most people listen to me tell these stories, it seems like. But I've been posting a lot of stories on Instagram because it's Black History Month, and I got my own opinions about Black History Month and us even having a fucking month in the first place. But I'd be posting a lot of stuff on there because, as you guys know, I like to talk about history, and Black history is my history, so I share a lot about that. And it's one of those things, like I said in my last video, I talk about these uncomfortable topics, you know. That's one of them, right? That's one of those uncomfortable topics. All right, we got a blunt. We can finally spark this bitch. I'll put some clothes on so you guys don't have to feel like I'm sitting naked in your living room with you. Boom. Bro, this wood is fighting me. I think we're gonna have to throw a little extra something around the end of this just to keep it secure, because it's not doing what I want it to. Let's do this. I throw a big Big patch. I hate to do it, but I'm not smoking with nobody, so fuck it. I'm gonna throw a little piece on here to help hold this motherfucker in place. And it may be ugly, but you guys know me, this bitch gonna smoke. I can lick the shit out of it right now because it's only me smoking. All right, here we go. It's too soft. Too much hanging. All right, we're gonna talk about the lost history of psychedelics, and we're gonna do that. I'm gonna turn the energy up. I know you guys over here waiting on me. I'm over here getting dressed and fucking rolling weed and shit, sitting in my old farm truck. But this is the life out here, and I don't have a lot of time usually to do these things, so we're just gonna do it when we can. It's not about looking pretty. It's about getting the truth out there, and hopefully that's why you guys will be coming here to hear this truth. Not a bunch of other bullshit. Alright, crack these windows so I can fucking breathe. And here we go. Alright, so let's talk about it. Alright, let's just do it. Off the top. First off, everywhere I go, people like to talk about psychedelics, right? You guys all know this. If you get out at all from under your fucking rock, then you know that people like to talk about psychedelics, especially right now. That they're starting to become legal or decriminalized in some places like Oregon, right? Oregon decriminalized all drugs and legalized mushrooms, which was pretty dope. Damn it, this blunt. Why do I always... Anytime I'm in a hurry, I got an issue. So, Oregon legalized mushrooms, decriminalized all other drugs basically, right? And they did that while I still lived there, so I was able to experience that freedom, which was truly amazing. And I think everyone else should follow suit for sure when it comes to that, when it comes to psychedelics. Now, Oregon doesn't really do a lot of things well, but that's one thing they do well, is their drug laws. I mean, I shouldn't say well. It's one thing they do better than most people, is their drug laws. And so, sorry guys, I'm patching my blunt. I know. Open admission that I rolled a shitty blunt. It's okay. It's just for me this time. And girls are inside. I ain't got to share with nobody. Alright, so Oregon has amazing drug laws overall compared to most places in the world that I've ever lived. And I've lived quite a few places. And so, Jesus, bro, what did I roll here? You guys better be flaming me in the comments for this blunt, because this is the worst blunt I've rolled in fucking months. I had to do it on a live stream. I'm gonna patch this thing. It looks like a fucking bale of hay. You got shit sticking out everywhere. So, anyways, point is, I was able to do a lot of psychedelics legally without fear of repercussion. And that was great because I was going through a point in time in my life where I truly needed to change something. I was having a rough time, and I don't like to put labels on my shit like depressed or anxious or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But I'll just be open with you guys. When I was a kid, I went through a lot of shit, right? And I buried my mom in handcuffs, shackles, belly chain, and a bunch of cops around me when I was only 15. I was locked up a bunch. I had 8 felonies, 3 misdemeanors, fucking no father figure, the whole thing, right? And so I acted out a lot, right? And so they put a bunch of labels on me. They call me bipolar, they call me manic depressive, they call me an alcoholic, they call me a drug addict, all this shit, right? And I didn't know what to think of it at the time. I just felt like they were wrong, right? I didn't know how else to put it other than deep down in my soul, I felt like they were wrong. And so I never fully gave into that, but I did have to give in enough to complete like my programs, because I was part of the Oregon Youth Authority. It's OYA. Anyway, so the point is, I was taught early on to stay away from drugs, and being a rebel, I fucking did the opposite. I went after drugs, I sold drugs, I was all about drugs. And I was never about them in the sense that I was fascinated with them. I was just like smoking weed, and I liked selling drugs to make money when I was a kid. And so this is what I did a lot. And it never taught me anything other than how to just do it. Like I could grow weed and shit like that. I could fucking whip up some good bubble hash, and you know, I'm not gonna go in detail, but I can do things. So Maybe worst blunt ever. It's smoking at least. So point is, I've always had a fascination with making money from drugs, but not from the drugs themselves. Not until I got into my 30s and I had some heavy fucking psychedelic experiences. And those psychedelic experiences, I just found another hole. I'm not even gonna try to fucking patch it. I'll burn half this thing down before I fucking put another patch on it. So I got in them psychedelics, and naturally there's like this progressive state, right? You start off eating some mushrooms or whatever. This is a pain in the ass. Next thing you know, the homie's throwing you some ecstasy or some Molly, and next thing you know, you're fucking popping acid and shit, and fucking tripping balls. Maybe then you really get into it. You know, maybe you're like getting caught up on the psychedelic side, and you start getting into mescaline and you know, other shit, fucking DMT or 5-MeO. There's a bunch of stuff, right? So maybe you go that way. But most people I've encountered, they'll get their hands on some psychedelics, and it's kind of like how I was in my 20s. They just want to have fun. It's not about learning. It's not about meeting God. It's not about meeting deities. It's not about none of that bullshit. You just want to have some fucking fun, right? And I understand this. I truly understand this. I get it, right? As you guys see, shit changes, right? That's how I used to be too. But shit changed. And I'm not religious by any means, but I like to know shit. I get curious. I'm a fucking curious person, right? I don't want to just smoke something in a fucking blunt and be like, oh, I don't care what it is. Does it get me high? No, because I'm not here to just get high. I'm curious. I like to know shit. So if I'm gonna do psychedelics and they do something to me, what scientists like to call a hallucination, right? They cause me to hallucinate. Well then, okay, so cause me to hallucinate. What the fuck is a hallucination? I need that explained to me. I can't just take psychedelics and be like, oh, I'm hallucinating, and not really understand what that is. That doesn't work for me. So once I start fucking getting heavy into psychedelics, I start getting curious about shit. What the fuck is a hallucination, right? What is this? And this will all lead back to the point of the video, which is the lost history of psychedelics. But once I get curious about something, I dig, and I started digging, right? And as I'm digging, I start to realize that they didn't know. They didn't really know. So when I went looking, here's the two questions I had that started it all. And some of you guys might have heard me talk about this before, but I want to know, what is a hallucination, and how can two people or more, right, possibly a group, share a hallucination or have a shared hallucination, right? How is that physically possible, right? Because I was always taught growing up that a hallucination is just your own mind creating this experience, right? And there's some sort of chemical reaction going on, your mind's just kind of going haywire, right? That's what I always thought as a kid. Now obviously I know better than that now, but I'm trying to relate to people, because there's a lot of people still out there that think like this. So, you know, this would be a whole lot more appealing if my blunt smoked good. And so I want to know, what the fuck is it? What is this hallucination? Oh, there's people looking up. I don't want to smoke them out all crazy. I don't want to get upset. Oh, there you go. He waved. All right. So what is a hallucination, right? That's what I want to know. And so I start looking into this more and more and more. And the thing that keeps popping up is phosphenes, right? What is a phosphene? You might be wondering. Not with an F, but with a PH, right? A phosphene is, you know, when you watch like cartoons back in the day, like Looney Tune and shit like that, and you know, they get hit in their head and bing, they'd see little stars and Tweety birds and shit floating around, you know, circles. They consider those phosphenes, right? Phosphenes is like when you rub your eyes too hard and then you see speckles and spotches or something, you know, or you get up and you start getting a little dizzy. Next thing you know, everything's kind of fuzzy coming in. Okay, so they call those phosphenes, right? And I didn't know that at the time, right? It was my first time actually dropping acid, and I was already curious about this. And this was a long time ago, but still, I was curious about it. I was like, okay, so what the fuck? What the fuck is going on here? You know, most people know when you take acid, it starts to fuck you up a little bit, right? Lower doses, you feel good, you know, feel these crazy energies. You get the chills up and down your spine, right? And you look out and you'll get these, you know, on a little bit higher dose, it'll look almost like you're underwater, you know, and the light shining through the water, and things will kind of glisten and sparkle and shimmer, and sometimes they're a little bit, but not that much. It just depends on lower doses. But then you take higher doses and shit starts to get weird, right? Shit starts to, like, you start to feel more than just funny or good or vibes, you start to feel like almost broken sometimes. Like things start to glitch and twitch and shatter, you know. And then you take high doses and you can literally break your reality. It feels like you are broken. It feels like there's nothing there. Things can turn to glass and just shatter and float off into the distance. You can be left in the void, in the black. It can get intense, right? But not so intense for most people that they wouldn't do it again, right? Some people, yes, but not everybody. So then you step up into the DMT realm, right? And then you start meeting entities. You start meeting these creatures, these beings, these things that are alive, right? And they're very intelligent and they're very aware. And you become very aware that they are very intelligent and aware of you. And it becomes a strange sensation, right? And when you come back from that, you have that sensation, like everyone says, that was more real than real, right? Now, nobody really seems to take it beyond that, right? And me, having studied up on phosphines a little bit, I'm looking at my DMT experience going, well, this is not what the fuck a phosphine is. I can assure you of that. So, what's the real history here? What's the real history? What's really going on with psychedelics, right? Because it's not some sort of phosphines. They thought it was phosphines and that ancient people would see these phosphines and get these geometric patterns and somehow that would inspire them to create these fucking buildings and shit. That's not true. It's not fucking true. I looked into it a lot for a long time, many years, and learned a lot of shit, and it took me a long time to get up the courage to actually jump on here and start talking to you guys about this because I wasn't sure how it'd be received. And then I realized I don't really give a fuck how it's received. I just want to get the shit out there for people, and if it helps somebody, cool. All right, so history of psychedelics. Lost history of psychedelics. First off, what the fuck is the point of a psychedelic, right? What does it do to you, right? Well, it takes you from what you think is reality, and it shifts it, bends it, curves it, sometimes fucking pulls it apart, sometimes it reveals another aspect to it, sometimes it takes you out of it entirely, right? Depends on the situation and the dosage, right? The alkaloid or drug that you're using in the dosage, right? And so then you have this blunt sucks. Then you have this question of, okay, so what is reality itself, right? If these drugs are pulling the veil back on reality a little bit, or shifting or changing or altering your reality, right? Some people think of it as an escape from reality, right? If that's the case, okay, well then let's talk about reality. What is reality, right? Well, motherfuckers don't know, right? Ask any quantum fucking physicist about the shit, or scientist, and they'll tell you reality is not what you fucking think, right? Look into any basic form of biology, you'll find out that all we are is a bunch of fucking vibrating little atoms, right? That aren't even touching each other. Nothing, no part of us is technically touching the other part of us, right? And that's just what it is. Life is weird that way. So you have to keep an open mind to the sense that things aren't cut and dry. They're not black and white. So psychedelics go way the fuck back to the beginning of human fucking existence. I don't care who you talk to. Fuck what they're saying, this is the truth, all right? And you can learn this by studying any oral tradition and shamanic teachings around the world and following the history back, follow the timeline back. You can look into the art and iconography of any fucking culture, history, and follow it back to the oldest shit you can find, you'll find psychedelics. So, if I could ever get my blunt to smoke, it'd make this go a lot easier. So, this is gonna be weird for you guys, but it takes us to yoga, all right? Yoga, to most people, is stretching. What yoga really is the grooming of the temple, right? You're taking care of your body, the temple, the thing that houses the soul, okay? This is a temple, right? Your temple needs nutrients. It needs water. It needs exercise. It needs to be stretched, moved, worked into position all the time. It needs to be taken care of just like you take care of a car. It needs maintenance. All right, so you have to do maintenance on your temple. That is what yoga is, right? Now, why? What's the purpose of having a temple? Most people think it's just to live life, but it's not. It's deeper than that. It's actually to die, all right? And this is going to fuck people up a little bit, all right? Your goal is not to live this life. It's to die awake, all right? To literally die awake, to escape the Maya, to escape the illusion, all right? If you've ever studied Hinduism, you've probably heard about the Maya, right? Realizing Brahman, escaping the Maya. This is how you escape reincarnation, or whatever you want to call it. The point is, yoga, when done correctly, allows the body to process energy correctly. You can move energy from your nadi points, through your chakras, up your spinal cord, through each chakra, to your crown chakra, blow out your chakra the 1,000-petal lotus, okay? When you do that, what they mean by that is you are activating your pineal gland. You're decalcifying your pineal gland. It's starting to release endogenous dimethyltryptamine, serotonin, and melatonin, all right? If you don't know what endogenous means, it means made within the body, all right? Something that you didn't add, something that was already there, okay? It didn't take any external addition, right? So exogenous DMT is like drinking ayahuasca or smoking DMT. Endogenous DMT is producing it within the body naturally, all right? And there's several organs that can do that. One being the pineal gland, right in the center of your brain, top of your pineal or spinal cord, back of your sinus cavity, right? It's affected by vibration when you talk. It's affected by all the energy and fluids flowing up and down your spine. It's affected by your nervous system. It's affected by your thoughts themselves. It's affected by the light transmitted through your eyeballs. It's affected by everything, all right? So it's very important. It is the thing that is responsible for what you see and believe to be reality, all right? That is the thing. Without that gland and the production of DMT from that gland and the other organs in your body combined, you can still live in this world just fine without that gland. There are people that have had it removed before, right? But there's other organs in the body that produce DMT. DMT is an alkaloid that acts kind of as a doorway, a gateway to the ether, to the realm of the gods, the quantum realm. There's all kinds of, the realm of dark matter and dark energy. There's all kinds of things you can call it, but it leads to that, right? And in order for that to happen, this girl's worried about hitting my shit over here. I'm in the farm truck. You can bust this up. In order for that to happen, you have to have heightened amounts of dimethyltryptamine within the body. I gotta roll these fucking windows down. I'm starting to sweat in here, guys. I'm sorry. So, if you're gonna raise your levels of DMT, if you're gonna raise your levels of endogenous dimethyltryptamine within the body, then the quickest way to do that, the best way to do that. Oh no! I just dropped my blunt. Oh, come on. Saved. The best way to do that, this is a nightmare. The best way to do that is through yoga practices, breathing techniques, and meditation. And that is the quickest way you're going to be able to release endogenous dimethyltryptamine within the body. No exogenous input required, right? And so the purpose of that, right, is to be able to communicate with the other side, with the deities, with the Godhead, right, the primordial Om, without needing any substances. Now that doesn't mean avoid substances, as many yogis think, right? You'll constantly see this debate about what's better to reach God, taking an ayahuasca journey or a DMT journey, or practicing your meditation daily for X amount of time, right? Well, you can do it both ways. If you meditate properly and you get really good at releasing the exogenous or the endogenous DMT in your body, you can have a breakthrough, right? And a breakthrough is literally going to the other side, into the realm of the gods, the ether. Now, you can do it the easy way, which is just smoking some DMT, and it'll take you there immediately. And so people like to argue over what's the correct way, what's the better way. It doesn't matter. It's whatever way works for you, honestly. I do both. And so if you, in my opinion, if you do enough of either one, you're perfectly okay with doing both, because both achieve the same thing, and the goal is that. It's not the method at which you got there, it's being there, right? So that you can be aware and awake and realize your oneness. And so if you want to do that, then do that. It doesn't really matter how you get there, but the point is to be knowledgeable, right? You don't just go taking a bunch of DMT and just hope for enlightenment. That may or may not happen. It has happened to people in the past, kind of happened to me, but it doesn't happen to everybody. And they know that. There's a reason for that. They have what they call the School of the Mysteries, right? Ancient Egyptian schools, teachings of Thoth the Atlantean, Tahuti, right? And if you study Freemasons or anything like that, 33rd degree Freemasons teach this stuff a lot. It is it's known as alchemy to most people, which is the transmutation of the soul, right? It's literally learning how to leave the body and to essentially ascend into the realm of the gods. Now, drugs, according to ancient history, and I'm going to get into this now. This is the big woo. So everything I've read, psychedelics have been here since the Anunnaki, actually. In the Sumerian tablets, you can read about this. If you're not good at sourcing Sumerian tablets and translations, you can read about this in Zachariah Sitchin's books. The Earth Chronicle series, right, talks a lot about it, specifically the Lost Book of Enki. When Ninmah, Enki, Enlil, Anu, all of them came to Earth. They didn't bring them with them for everybody at first. There's a long process that happened. But after the flood, believe it or not, if you guys study the Bible or anything like this, you'll know about the Adam and Eve story. Well, it's a little different than what's in the Bible, and that fucks people up a little. Adam actually went to Nibiru, right? And his name was not Adam. There's two Adams. There was Adamu and there was Adapa, right? Two Adams, two Eves, Tiamat and TT, right? Adapa and TT came second, and they were very advanced because they directly carried the DNA of Enki. They were his children. That's the seed of the serpent that you'll hear religious people talking about, but they don't know where it comes from most of the time. The seed of the serpent is the seed of Enki, Ea, right? Also known as the father of Quetzalcoatl, the father of Thoth the Atlantean, Shiva, right? The father of Ganesha. It's not really the father of Ganesha, but we'll say that. And so, when Adapa went to Nibiru to meet Anu, right, the king of the Anuna, right, those of heaven, not those of heaven that came to earth, that's the Anunnaki, right, Anu, Na, Ki is those who from heaven came to earth, Ki being earth, Anuna being those from heaven, right? Anu is the leader of those Anuna, right? The father of Enlil and Enki, okay? Enki being the creator of humanity, Enlil being the one trying to destroy humanity. All right, I don't know how many of you guys know this or not, but there you go. You can look into it if you want. Point is, when Adapa went to Nibiru to meet Anu, right? So that Anu can see the creation of humanity and how wise we are, right? Ninja Siddha, I think Thoth, who we call Thoth, his name's Ninja Siddha, brought back the elixir-bearing fruits and herbs, right? Elixir-bearing trees and plants, okay? These elixir-bearing plants are crucial throughout all of history. Hinduism, Kemeticism, which is Egypt stuff. You can look it up in Muslim stuff. You can look it up in the Hebrew, Abrahamic, Christian, fucking Catholic, shamanic, you name it. It's in all of them, right? In Hinduism, it's Soma. In Egyptian, it's Soma. In Rome, it's the Eucharist. In Spain, it's the Kukion. In South America, it's ayahuasca, right? These are the elixirs, right? Now, these elixirs were not like ayahuasca back then. They're far more complex. They had a lot more ingredients, right? And they would use them in shamanic practices, right? They would use them in the church, right? The Holy Grail was used to carry an elixir, right? The elixir of life. When you go to church originally, what would you go there for? You would go there to take communion. Why? Because it was the key to meeting God, right? Nowadays they give you juice and shit. It's a placebo. Originally they would give you a DMT/LSD elixir, right? And a lot of people may think I'm full of shit on this, but it's the truth. This is if you can read what is this book called? The Immortality Key by Brian C. Murra Rescue. It came out like a year and a half ago maybe or something. Great book. It's all about the Eucharist, breaking down the ancient DMT elixirs. All right, all of this stuff originally came from shamanic, religious, spiritual elixirs. All right. Later on, after colonization or through colonization, it was made illegal. It was removed from all the indigenous tribes that had it originally, and kind of put under lock and key. Right? Only now are people starting to find it again. If you guys have watched Hamilton Morris's video about Bufo, right? His documentary about Bufo Varius. Hey, what's up, guys? What's up, Jesse? What's up, Luke? What's up, Jobo? Sorry, I don't know why I didn't see any comments until just now. But if you guys have watched Hamilton Morris's 5-MeO DMT Bufo Varius documentary, you will see that most people give credit to a white dude for discovering Bufo. But even in the documentary, the white dude himself admits that he didn't discover Bufo, he rediscovered Bufo, right? By going through these documents about ancient Indian practices and going through burial grounds where they found a bunch of frog bones in a pile. And he just found it so weird that there was a bunch of frog bones, and he started studying the frog bones, and all he could think of is there must be some sort of psychedelic ritual attached to it. He found the Bufo frog, right? And he milked it, he smoked it, and he went to the other side. And the rest is history. If you guys want to go watch it's on Vice or something. Point is, he found it from the natives, right? Now, who are these natives? Well, if you study indigenous Native American history, you'll know they're all connected. All of them are connected, right? And not only are they connected to each other in the north, they're connected to each other in Mexico, they're connected to each other in Central America, they're connected to each other in South America and Alaska, and even the Polynesian Islands and the Caribbean Islands, right? And then studying more, you start to find out that they're actually all black people originally. And they were kind of watered down through colonization, right? All of us were. And that's why I'm light skinned myself, colonization, right? So then after you study them enough, you start to realize that they weren't just taking drugs and being like fucking tripping balls and feeling good. They were meeting deities on the regular on the other side. And I learned that through taking tremendous amounts of DMT over an extended amount of time, over and over and over again, scaring the fuck out of myself, and going to the other side and meeting the deities, and coming back and looking them up and finding who I met and what their history was and which cultures would talk about them. And it all slowly started leading me to a point, you know, and started to realize that psychedelics were actually given to us by the Anunnaki as a way to stay in touch with the Anunnaki. And then when you go to that side, not everybody gets to meet the primordial Om, but a lot of people get to meet the deities, which are aspects of the primordial Om, the Godhead, right? And I was blessed. I got to meet the Godhead, and I got to meet many aspects of the Godhead, including Shiva, and including Anubis, and changed my life, you know, changed how I see things. And now I'm obsessed. I read ancient history all the time, and a lot of people think that that stuff was written by men, but a lot of it wasn't. And people will say otherwise, but those are people that don't study these writings, these languages, right? If you study enough cuneiform tablets, you'll start to realize which ones were written by men and which ones weren't. You study enough hieroglyphs, you'll start to realize which ones were written by men and which ones weren't. Which ones were about men and which ones weren't. And it just changed my perspective on everything, you know. I used to make fun of flat earthers and shit like that, and then I read the book of Enoch and learned about the firmament. Now, that fucked me up a little bit. I didn't know that that's where they were getting that information. I didn't know that it was written about thousands of years ago in Gnostic Gospels. That, you know, most people think people thought the earth was flat because they were too stupid to know it was round. But that wasn't the case. These people actually had the measurements of planets and the sun itself. down to a T. They knew the measurement of Earth, the whole circumference. They knew the frequencies at which it vibrated, 432 hertz. They knew all the cycles of the stars. These were very, very intelligent people. And they thought the Earth was flat. And they didn't just think it. They had calculations, great detailed calculations about it that I didn't realize were there. Kind of fucked me up a little bit, you know? And so when I say that all these psychedelics originally come from an alien race from a different planet, I know it sounds stupid, but prove me wrong. Go read the text and you'll see. They literally talk about hiding this information, their knowledge, within the plants themselves, right? Within the bark of the trees. Well, where the fuck do we get DMT from? From acacia bark, mimosa bark, right? Mimosa root bark and acacia root and trunk bark. That's where you get DMT from. A lot of, I mean, you can get from a lot of places, but that's like one of the main places. There's a lot of things that they write about that are true. It's true, you know, and it really fucks me up a lot. And the more I studied, the more I realized that that was the purpose. Oh, here they come. That was the purpose of psychedelics, was to keep us in contact with our creators, and that they hid them in a lot of things so that we could find them again, so we could wake up, free ourselves. Holy shit, we got a lot of groceries apparently. All right, y'all. Anyways, try to smoke a blunt with you, tell you some stories. Look this stuff up, man. Look up the history of psychedelics through shamanism. Study the oral traditions of all the different cultures around the world, and you'll see yourself. I'm not lying to you. Anyways, I'm gonna be back on here. I'll do a part 2. We'll get more in depth when I have more time, and we'll also smoke a better blunt. You know what it is, you guys. Peace and chickeries. I appreciate y'all coming kick it.